Sense is the ability to understand the surroundings. Humans have a set of sensory organs. In this article, we will learn about the structure of the 5 sensory organs: eyes, ear, skin, nose and tongue, with neatly labeled diagrams, working and functions. Sensory organs provide us with data for perception, and it is the physiological capacity of all living organisms. 5 sense organs are equipped in the human body. Those organs provide us with first-hand information about our external or internal world. The names of those organs are stated below. Eye perceives vision, ear perceives sound, skin perceives touch, temperature, roughness, nose perceives smell, tongue perceives taste. The function of the human eye is to receive visual signals and transfer them to the brain. The paired eyes are in sockets of the skull called orbits. The adult human eyeball is nearly a spherical structure. The eye is our organ of sight. The eye is a slightly asymmetrical globe about an inch in diameter. The wall of the eyeball is composed of 3 layers. External layer, it is composed of a dense connective tissue known as the sclera. Middle layer choroid, bluish in color, contains dense blood vessels present in this layer of the eye. In the posterior 2/3 of the eyeball, this choroid layer is thin, but in the anterior part becomes thick. In the anterior part, the thick portion of the choroid forms the ciliary body. This ciliary body then continues forward to form a pigmented and opaque structure known as the iris. Iris is the visible colored portion of the eye. A transparent crystalline lens is held in place by ligaments attached to the ciliary body. Pupil, the aperture surrounded by the iris, is seen in front of the lens. The diameter of the pupil is regulated by the muscle fibers of the iris. Inner layer, it is the retina, and it contains 3 layers of neural cells from inside to outside: ganglion cells, bipolar cells, and photoreceptor cells. There are 2 types of photoreceptor cells found in the eye, and they are as follows: rod cell and cone cell. These cells contain the photopigments of one type of light-sensitive protein. The daylight vision and the color vision are functions of cones, and twilight vision is the functions of the rods. Rhodopsin, or visual purple, a purplish-red protein, is found in the rods, and this rhodopsin contains a derivative of vitamin A. The point at which the optic nerve leaves the eye and the retinal blood vessels enter it is known as the blind spot, and photoreceptor cells are not present in that region. Macula lutea, a yellowish pigmented spot with a central pit called the fovea, is located at the posterior pole of the eye, lateral to the blind spot. In the fovea, the cones are densely packed, and it is the point where the visual acuity or resolution is greatest. Aqueous humor, a thin, watery fluid, is found in the aqueous chamber, the space between the cornea and the lens. Vitreous humor, a transparent gel, is found in the vitreous chamber, the space between the lens and the retina. The outer ear is called the pinna and is made of ridged cartilage covered by skin. The ear is made up of 3 different sections that work together to collect sounds and send them to the brain. There is no bone in the outer ear. Human ears have 2 main functions, which are stated below: hearing and maintenance of balance of the body. The human ear can be divided into 3 major sections. Outer ear, it comprises the pinna and the external auditory meatus or canal. The pinna collects the vibrations in the ear which produce sound. The external auditory meatus leads inwards and extends up to the tympanic membrane or the eardrum. There are very fine hairs and wax-secreting glands in the skin of the pinna and the canal. The tympanic is composed of connective tissues covered with mucous membrane inside. Middle ear, it contains 3 ossicles called the malleus, incus, and stapes, which are attached to one another in a chain-like fashion. The malleus is attached to the tympanic membrane, and the stapes is attached to the oval window of the cochlea. The ear ossicles increase the efficiency of transmission of sound waves to the inner ear. A eustachian tube connects the middle ear cavity with the pharynx. The eustachian tube helps in equalizing the pressure on either side of the eardrum. The fluid-filled inner ear called labyrinth consists of 2 parts, the bony labyrinths and the membranous labyrinth. The bony labyrinth is a series of channels. Inside these channels lies the membrane labyrinth, which is surrounded by a fluid called perilymph. The membranous labyrinth is filled with a fluid called endolymph. The coiled portion of the labyrinth is called the cochlea. The organ of Corti is a structure located on the basilar membrane, which contains hair cells. These cells act as an auditory receptor. Inner ear. It also contains a complex system called the vestibular apparatus. It is located above the cochlea. 3 semicircular canals and the otolith are there found in the vestibular apparatus. These systems are responsible for maintaining body balance. Working of a human eye. The light rays in visible wavelength enter the retina through the cornea and lens of the eye, which then generates impulses in rods and cone cells. The photosensitive compounds or photopigments in the retina get activated and generate an impulse that gets transmitted via the optic nerve to the visual cortex area of the brain. The impulses are then analyzed, and the image formed on the retina is recognized based on earlier memory and experience. Working of a human ear. The external ear collects sound waves and directs them to the eardrum. The eardrum vibrates in response to the sound waves, and these vibrations are transmitted through the ear ossicles consisting of the malleus, incus, and stapes to the oval window. The vibration is passed through the oval window onto the fluid of the cochlea. In the cochlea, the wave stimulates the hair cells, and thus the sensation of sound is produced and passed to the brain by auditory nerves. In these ways we hear sound.